Back at you. I'm still here, you shit-eaters.
In the near future, America is run by a single, all-powerful broadcaster known simply as the network. Most people live in crushing poverty, unable to afford medicine for something as small as a fever. To keep the population distracted, the network fills every channel with brutal game shows, and the most popular of them all is the Running Man. Contestants have to survive 30 days while professional killers called hunters chase them down. Anyone who lasts the full month walks away with a $1 billion prize. In the show's entire history, nobody ever has. Ben Richards is a laid-off factory worker blacklisted across the entire industry after he tried to organize a union. His daughter Kathy is sick, and there's no way to pay for her treatment. His wife Sheila has started picking up extra shifts at a bar just to keep food on the table, and Ben hates how uneasy that place makes him feel. To calm her down, he makes a promise instead. He'll sign up for a network game show himself and bring home enough money to fix everything. Sheila panics, knowing full well what these shows really are, but Ben swears he'll pick the safest one on offer. He leaves his rundown neighborhood and talks his way past the guards into the wealthy, heavily monitored district where the network runs its casting. Inside, a long line of desperate applicants waits to be evaluated. An elderly man in line collapses from exhaustion but insists on staying anyway, needing the money too badly to quit. Ben catches him as he falls and calls for help, and for that small act of decency, the guards beat him and drag him out of line for breaking procedure. A violation gets logged permanently to his file. Furious, Ben puts his fist through a screen on his way out. That single outburst gets him flagged and pulled aside anyway. He's fitted with a tracking bracelet and sent through a battery of physical trials alongside 2 other candidates, Tim and a young woman named Laughlin. The tests measure endurance, strength, and reflexes, and Ben's years of manual labor carry him further than anyone expects. When a guard tries to punish him mid-trial for stepping out of line, Ben fights back hard enough to send the man running. Then comes the psychological evaluation, where his blunt, aggressive answers earn him a label: most unstable contestant in the pool. It's exactly the kind of profile the network's most extreme show is looking for. Ben, Tim, and Laughlin are all handed red jumpsuits with targets stitched onto the back. They've been chosen for the Running Man. The show's producer, Killian, meets each of them personally. He's the kind of man who treats human lives like betting odds. Ben tries to back out, but Killian dangles an upfront cash advance for Kathy's treatment and promises that a handful of days on the show could pull his whole family out of poverty for good. Reluctantly, Ben signs. Before he's sent in, network handlers move Sheila and Kathy into a safe house under false names, supposedly for their protection while he competes. Ben gets exactly 1 phone call to say goodbye. That night, alone in a network holding room, he's handed an envelope from Sheila with a family photo and a small good luck charm from his daughter. On air, Bobby T, the show's grinning host, introduces the 3 contestants to a cheering studio audience. Except the story he tells about Ben is a lie, dressed up with a fabricated video claiming he was some kind of criminal. Ben shouts at the crowd not to believe it, and nobody listens. To the country watching at home, the runners aren't desperate parents. They're monsters getting exactly what they deserve. Bobby explains the rules one more time for the cameras. 12 hours head start, then the professional hunters are released, and any regular citizen can report a runner's location for a cash reward, or try to collect a much bigger one by killing a runner personally. Each of them is required to send in 10 minutes of proof-of-life footage every single day, dropped into network mailboxes scattered across the country. Miss a tape and the payments stop, but the hunt never does. Ben changes into street clothes, grabs his gear, and disappears into the city the moment the countdown starts. A cab driver recognizes his face almost immediately and threatens to call it in unless Ben poses for a photo. Ben pays him off just to get away. He tracks down an old contact named Molly, who deals in forged documents and black market goods underground. Molly is furious that Ben would even think about dragging this danger to his doorstep, But after hearing about Kathy, he agrees to help anyway. Fake IDs, a disguise, and a warning to stay out of poor neighborhoods, where people will sell him out for the reward money in a heartbeat. Disguised and holding a train ticket to New York, Ben slips past a station covered in wanted posters of his own face. A kid on the train stares at him the whole ride, and Ben snaps at him to back off, only for the boy to say he was just going to mention that Ben's fake mustache was peeling. In New York, Ben checks into a hotel, records his nightly tape, and drops it in the box. When he wakes up, the broadcast is already showing Tim's death. He'd let his guard down for a moment in public, and the hunters found him in seconds. Rattled, Ben moves fast, catching a bus to Boston and holing up in a rundown hostel with a broken elevator. Hidden in a closet, he finds a grenade left behind by a previous tenant. While waiting for the hallway to clear so he can safely reach the drop box, he spots a familiar face outside one of the professional hunters. Closing in with backup, Ben barely ducks into a bathroom before they sweep the floor. When they move on, he improvises a way out, smashing a sealed window with a torn iron bar, using the reflection in a mirror to track their movements, and shouting a fake tip to send them running the wrong way down the hall. He escapes onto the roof, rappels down a cable to reach his own window, and grabs his bag just as the hunters break in below. Chased through the building under gunfire, Ben throws his one grenade through a gap near the elevator shaft, sending it crashing into the basement. In the chaos afterward, a stray bullet ruptures a gas line, and the whole lower floor goes up in flames, taking most of the hunters with it. Ben barely claws his way out through a drainage tunnel and into the street, soaked and shaking, to record his tape. Outside, he runs into a boy named Stacy, who offers to help instead of turning him in. Stacy brings Ben to his older brother Bradley, an anti-network organizer who's been secretly broadcasting his own analysis of the show for years. Bradley shows Ben a series of underground videos from a masked figure called the Apostle, who lays out exactly how the hunters operate. The least popular runner dies first. The second most popular is hunted down over the following week, and whoever's rating is highest by the 2-week mark gets eliminated in the show's biggest, most watched moment. The only real way to survive is to disappear somewhere the network's surveillance can't reach. Bradley offers to help Ben reach a fellow rebel named Elton. In a moment of raw anger, Ben records a tape exposing the show's lies, but the network edits it before airing, twisting his words to make it sound like he's mocking the families of the hunters killed in the explosion. Bradley's mother sees the broadcast and throws Ben out of the house in a rage, refusing to hear an explanation. Bradley and Stacy sneak him out anyway, hidden in the trunk of their car, a decision that nearly gets all three of them killed when two armed bikers open fire on the vehicle mid-chase. Ben fights one off from inside the trunk, and Bradley rams the other off the road entirely. Before parting ways, Bradley hands Ben a gun and sends him toward Elton with his blessing. And by now, thanks to Stacy's graffiti spreading his name through the underground, Ben Richards has become something the network never wanted him to be: a folk hero. Traveling in disguise, hopping trains, and hiding in cheap motels, Ben eventually learns that Laughlin has also been killed, cornered and burned alive after a casino chase went wrong. Strangely, the people in the towns he passes through don't want him caught. They're rooting for him, and it terrifies the network more than anything else in the game so far. Elton takes Ben in and shows him a hidden printing room where he's been quietly distributing anti-network newsletters ever since his father, a police officer, was murdered by his own colleagues for speaking out. He explains that streetlights across the country are fitted with DNA scanners now, so staying invisible is harder than ever. His plan is to hide Ben in an old survival bunker his father built during the Cold War, recording enough tapes in advance to buy him time until the final day. That plan collapses the same night. Elton's mother, unstable and obsessed with the show, recognizes Ben and secretly calls the police herself, hoping to avenge her husband's death by having Ben captured. Officers surround the house within minutes. Elton locks her away for her own safety and turns the house itself into a weapon, flooding the floor with live electricity, triggering a hidden flamethrower built into the furniture and collapsing a staircase under the advancing officers. He and Ben slide down a hidden pole into hidden tunnels beneath the house, but a hunter is already waiting for them there. The hunter stabs Elton and turns on Ben, and a brutal fight follows before Elton, bleeding badly, manages to slash the man's leg, giving Ben the opening he needs to finally win. Through the hunter's own earpiece, Killian gets on the line personally and orders Ben to execute him for the cameras, promising it'll boost the ratings even further. Ben refuses and shoots out the surveillance drone instead. Ben and Elton break out through a car and flee into open country, but a network helicopter catches up fast. Elton tells Ben to leave him and keep running. A sniper shot from above kills him before Ben can argue. The hunters close in around Ben. Ben rigs a nearby vehicle with the last of Elton's explosives, drives it onto a bridge, and jumps clear just before it slams into a hunter and detonates. When Ben finally reaches the site of the old survival bunker, there's nothing left. The government tore it down years ago to build over the land. Out of options, he spends the night alone in an abandoned house, holding onto the thought of his family to keep going. In the morning, he smashes his way into the first car he finds. A young woman named Amelia is behind the wheel, and Ben, gun in hand, forces her to drive. Police and drones swarm them almost immediately, and Amelia's desperate driving barely keeps them ahead of the chase. As they drive, she calls him a monster for what he's doing to her, and Ben shows her the photo of his family, trying to explain that he only ever signed up to save his daughter's life. Moments later, the network hijacks her car's onboard system and sends it swerving out of control. And when two hunters try to intercept them directly, a network drone opens fire and destroys their truck instead. Because Killian needs Ben alive, and the show still needs its ending. On live television, footage airs claiming Amelia is a hostage being held against her will. She finally understands exactly what Ben's been trying to tell her, and something in her shifts by the time they reach a network roadblock. Ordinary people along the highway are openly cheering them on. At the blockade, Ben bluffs that he's wired the car with explosives and demands a plane with 2 parachutes. Astonishingly, it works. At the airport, he tells Amelia she's free to walk away. She refuses. Aboard the plane, Ben forces the lead hunter, McCone, to remove his mask on camera and confirms what he already suspected. The pilots aren't really pilots. They're network operatives sent to finish the job mid-air. Ben threatens to blow the plane unless they fly toward the Canadian border. Killian appears on screen to gloat that the plane's sensors already proved there's no bomb at all. Ben was bluffing the entire time. In private, he offers Ben one final deal: kill everyone else on the plane, and he can become a hunter himself, earning millions for the rest of his life. Ben doesn't hesitate to refuse. In retaliation, Killian plays a video appearing to show hunters killing Sheila and Kathy. Something in Ben breaks completely, and he tears into the cabin in a blind rage. But Bobby T, sensing the ratings goldmine, airs the footage as proof the hunters went rogue and murdered an innocent family, and turns the entire viewing audience against the network in an instant. What follows is a brutal, drawn-out fight through the cabin and cockpit. Ben against the fake pilots, against McCone, against everyone Killian throws at him. He's stabbed, beaten, and nearly thrown from the plane, but he claws his way through every one of them. McCone reveals in the middle of the fight that he was once a contestant too, one of the only runners in the show's history to survive all the way to day 29, right before the network recruited him as a hunter instead. It's meant to break Ben's spirit. It doesn't. In the final struggle, McCone grabs a parachute and tries to bail out through a shattered window. Ben yanks his own chute open just in time, drags McCone back through the opening, and finishes him for good. With the cockpit finally cleared, Ben hands Amelia a bag full of Elton's rebel newsletters and helps her parachute safely to the ground below, scattering the pages into the wind as she goes. Alone in the cockpit, Ben looks straight into the camera and tells the country the truth, that the network has been controlling them for years, and it's time to stop watching and start fighting back. The broadcast cuts out almost instantly. Killian doesn't even let the moment breathe. His people immediately doctor the footage to make it look like Ben deliberately crashed the plane into a crowded station, killing dozens of innocent bystanders. It should have ended there. But Bradley gets his hands on the full recording and picks the fake footage apart piece by piece, publishing the inconsistencies for anyone willing to look. The plane's recovered black box backs him up completely. And Ben's real final message, the one urging people to rise up, finally reaches the public unedited. Bradley also notices something else buried in the wreckage report. The plane never had an ejector system fitted for the cockpit at all, which means Ben might still be alive out there somewhere. Weeks later, Sheila and Kathy step out of a grocery store, finally living in something like safety again. A masked figure is waiting for them outside and gives a small, familiar wave. In the city, Bobby T quits the show cold, unwilling to be anywhere near what's coming next. Killian decides to host the new season himself, and the moment he steps on stage, the studio erupts into open revolt, fire and fury tearing through the crowd. Through the smoke, a masked man walks calmly toward him. He pulls off the mask. It's Ben. He raises a gun and, without a word, finally delivers on the promise he made Killian at the very start of all this.